Welcome everybody to Banana Bread Trades. My name is Goose, and today we're going to talk a little bit about something I do every single day on the live stream before I trade. The most important thing I think when it comes to making trades, and that is support and resistance. I know it may sound simple, but holy cow, almost everything we do is based off of this. Now, there's 1,000 different ways to do this, right? Everyone has their own method, theory, plan of attack, yada, yada, yada. I'm going to show you what I do, what we do every morning, and kind of what I look for to draw these zones of interest, where I want to buy and where I want to sell. So let's go ahead and pull up a chart and let's get started. Here, what I like to look for on these support and resistance lines is I look for breakout spots, big wicks to the downside, big support levels, and then I'll also look at volume profile on the right. As you can see here, the pink is our current week's volume profile, and the green is our previous week's volume profile. And what I will look for is, as you can see right here, these big ledges, these big drop-offs. So as you can see there, all this trading last week was done in this kind of range, and then below 36.70, 36.69, there wasn't a lot of volume traded. So generally you can kind of look at those areas and be like, okay, people don't want to trade below this level. There's not a lot of interest below this level, so we should probably mark that out. Then what I'll do is I'll look at that across a larger time frame. All right, so we'll look at that 36.70 level. We'll zoom out and be like, okay, was there a lot of support going on at 36.70? And the answer is really kind of no, right? You don't see a lot of respect of that 36.70 level. So while there is a ledge there, you have to double check it and be like, hey, there's a ledge here, but does it matter? And the answer's not really, right? 36.70, but then you look down here at 36.40, right? 36.40, we have an obvious bounce point, right? We have some obvious resistance points to the top, right? They didn't really want to bounce through that 36.40 zone. And kind of over here, 36.40, 36.50 again. And then, so what we'll do is we'll go to the daily chart. Okay, daily chart, 36.40. Is this level relevant on the daily chart? And the answer is, oh my gosh, look back here, 36.40 was in fact the bottom of a massive move down. Here you can see my longer time frame trend lines. We'll have a different video for that, but I really only do those on the daily chart. But you can see 36.40 was a really, really big support zone for a massive move down, right? That is a huge move down and a massive bear market move. So, okay, we like it right here. We like the kind of volume profile look of 36.40. It's got multiple bounce points, right? So we'll go ahead and we'll go on one of our charts. I have this chart. Oops, we'll go ahead and delete all these lines as well. I have these lines marked out on all of my charts, but we'll go to 36.40 and go to that initial point where we liked 36.40 the first time. Okay, and we'll draw a little 5-point zone, 36.39 through 36.45, right? We'll make this zone, and then we'll go ahead and extrapolate that out. We'll make it a right ray, okay? So then it just shoots out infinitely forever, right? So we have this 36.40 zone. Okay, we have this big support, big resistance area. Okay, that's one of them. Now on the right of this screen here, this is the 4-hour chart. This is the other one that I'll look at. This is the monthly volume profile. So this is the current month that we're in. I'll also look at it for these massive ledges. And on this one, we have a massive ledge here at about 35.85. Okay, we'll call it 35.85 is this massive ledge, right? So then we'll go look at our chart again, look at these candles and be like, all right, is there clear support and resistance at this 35.80 level? And the answer is yes. This is the bottom of a massive range that was happening. So there's a 100% chance we're going to go ahead. We're going to mark out 35.85 through the bottom of it, 35.80. We'll give it a little bit of leeway both ways. I don't like making these zones too wide. They might get wicked one way or another, but it's kind of all preference there. I'm going to draw it 35.80 through 35.85, right? That is the very end of this wicked area, right? We could probably move it up or down 5 points. It's kind of right? And a big move like that, you're going to be watching footprint, you're going to be watching delta, all sorts of different things making this move, right? So another thing we're going to do is, so we got two pretty big zones out, but we see this massive wick to the downside, right? This is the yearly low. We're in a bear market. I'll do the same thing if we're grinding all-time highs as well. You have this massive, massive wick to the downside, not even close to anything else. We'll switch to the daily, right? This is the low, 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 like low of the year, lowest we've been all year. But we bounced there, right? So it's obviously important, 3,500. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my chart and I'm going to draw a white line, right? I draw a white line because I want it to stand out differently from all my other lines that I have, right? These yellow zones, these are just regular support and resistance zones, right? I treat all those zones with the same amount of importance. But this is the yearly low. It's very, very important. So I'm going to make it a white line. So when we get there, you know, maybe we get there a year from now, right? Months from now. But I need to have in my mind that, hey, this is a very, very important level. It's the yearly low. So when we get to that level and it's months ahead later and I'm not really looking at the long-term chart or something, or I miss it, I see a white line like, oh, this is important. Let's go back and let's look at it. So that's what I do for that. Sometimes I'll make them red, all sorts of things. Like the more important, I'll make it different so it stands out, right? And then once it gets wicked or once we get a new yearly low, I'll make that zone yellow instead. So that's that one right there. Let's mark out a couple more zones. So here we got a pretty clear support and resistance going on around. So you see this wick to the upside, see these wicks to the downside, wick to the upside, wick to the downside. And it's all happening in this kind of the same zone around 3740. Now we go look at the monthly volume profile and there's not really a whole lot there. It's kind of just like a meh zone, but obviously there is some support and resistance happening here, right? Like you can see it on the chart. It's very clear something's going on here. We zoom out, we look 3740. Let's go to the daily chart. 3740. Was anything happening at 3740? A little bit. There was some pretty good wicks to the downside here. It looks like it's just kind of been, it's been kind of a decent wicky area. So we'll go ahead and we'll mark it out because it also lines up with our 40 to 60 point approach here. So we'll just go ahead and mark out 3740 through 3735. We'll make it a nice 5-point zone. We'll go ahead, make it a right ray. In there, we got this 3740 zone, and it's relatively important. It's kind of, like I said, we have these clear wicks to the downside. We have clear wicks to the upside all the way across this range that we've been having. So it's a zone to be noted. Now, the next zone we have is one of my more common approaches. You have these major highs, right? So right here was a major high that then led into a massive sell-off. What we're going to do here is we're going to mark out what this high is. We're going to look at the volume, and now you can tell a monthly volume as well. There's a pretty significant ledge here at 3810 to 3820. Now, this is also where this massive sell-off happened, right? So you can expect when we come back up to revisit this level, this price that we sold off at, there's probably going to be some resistance. Now, we might break above that resistance, but when we break above that resistance, we'll come back down and test, hopefully support, and we can plan some longs, right? So that's kind of what I like to look for in these big previous highs. Or maybe we get to these highs, doesn't quite vibe, and we reject. So yeah, we'll go ahead and for sure mark out this 3810 to 3820 level. And like I said, we have this volume profile to confirm kind of our bias here on this level. So there we go. There we got a few pretty important zones and why we like them. Now we can go back on this 3810 zone and look prior in the past. And when you look here, let's go all the way back here. This 3810 to 3820 zone, it's been a zone for a while, right? You have this massive support wick. Oops, zoomed too far. Massive support wick, massive resistance wicks, like all the way across, several months ago. And then we come back, it becomes a resistance wick. It's a resistance wick now. See if we can break above. Maybe we don't. We're in a bear market rally. Excuse me. So yeah, that's a kind of a quick video, quick example of how I look at support and resistance lines. What I use to mark them out, again, it's just wicks, like clear support and resistance on longer time frame charts. And then I'll use volume profile to kind of also confirm these zones, right? These big ledges is what I'll look for on a longer time frame volume profile, like a monthly or a weekly. And then wicks, and it's kind of all it comes down to when I'm marking out my support and resistance zones. And I'm not just trading these zones blindly. I'm looking at footprint, I'm watching delta, I'm watching price action, all sorts of different things. But I'm waiting for these zones to start engaging in taking a trade, right? These zones help me keep from making random trades in the middle or kind of getting chopped up, right? These are generally pivot points. I'll wait for these zones, then start looking for reasons to enter a trade, either long or short. So hope you guys liked it. Sorry that video ran just a little bit longer than I wanted, but I hope this helps. And yeah, if you guys have any other things you want to learn, just comment down below. Come see me in the stream. I stream every morning. Ask some questions. Come hang out, vibe. Like I said, I stream every morning, pre-market, just kind of going over, drawing out these zones for the day. What zones am I going to play? And all sorts of other stuff. So yeah, come hang out. I hope to see you guys soon. And if you like the video, hit the like, subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you can see when I'm streaming. If not, that's okay too. Just glad you checked out the video. Hope you liked it, and we'll see you in the next one.